So we had a great looking lefty swing here. And what we're going to see in this swing, we got a lot of really good stuff going on here to take away. Um, One of the nicest things about this swing is the way that this player gets their tempo. And what I mean by that is when they get to the top of their backswing, as we kind of go through the positional checks, we can see we're in a great spot for the face. Our face angle is a little bit open in this position. I think our camera is also a little bit off, but in relation to our span angle, we're doing great. We're keeping everything together, having one piece, and watching this thing in real time. It's a very slow, like Hideki kind of wind up, and so when we get to the top here, what we're going to see is before we end up getting all the way to the finish, we start to really dip down as the club is still moving back over our shoulder. We're starting to already start to transition. And so what this does is it really starts to prioritize the lower body working first towards the golf ball. This does so many wonderful things. Not only is it going to add consistency, but it's also going to help us prevent this over the top move by shallowing the club. As our hips start to rotate towards the ball, it's naturally going to get us a bit closer. And so the hands at this part, we have this great depth and reach behind us that it's going to start to line us up quite beautifully as we come down into the swing. And so a nice way to look at this is we get the hands kind of in front of us and the angle of the shaft of the club is bisecting the forearm. This is a great way for us to understand we're on plane. The face is slightly open in relation to the spine angle, but overall, very, very, very solid spot. So a couple of things that we're going to take away from this that we could probably work on would be if we have this large squat, we can see the distance underneath the starting line with our body, and we don't have any kind of like upward force. If we rewind a little bit, and we can see how our foot, as we start to go forward, and our back foot, we start to come up off the ground. And we do it in a way that's not using that lower body to push up into the golf ball. We end up kind of having this consistent rotational motion. And so as we're doing that, we're not having anything to bring us back up. And so when we're using a wood, this is going to be, particularly in a driver, it's going to be difficult because what it's going to do, if we looked at a TrackMan, is it would keep our angle of attack going down. It's essentially not going to allow us to get a positive or kind of hitting up on the ball, and we're going to add a lot of spin. So your short irons and even probably your mid irons, this isn't the worst move in the world, but definitely with the driver and our longer clubs, we want to have some push back up in order to start to decrease the spin. The steeper you get, the more spin you're going to get. That's also side spin as it is backspin. So as this player goes through and hits, we can see how we're still underneath our line, which is okay. Our spine angle as we come into impact is very close if we rewind to where we started. And so we're doing a great job at matching our body at address into hitting the ball. But the problem here is we're losing a little bit of strength and a little bit of power because we're not having at this position here. We should really start to be using that lower body push us up towards the ball. And that's going to help us start to fill out this gap here above the head. And what that's going to do is not only create more consistency, but again, it's going to decrease the spin rate of the ball, which is going to increase our carry distance. The other thing is when we get to the top of the swing, we have this amazing way to initiate the swing by, kind of pumping down and going. But because we kind of don't ever complete the swing, we get probably almost all the way there, but the angle for our club and our arm is going to be lacking its full backswing. And so what this does is it creates good tempo for us to go forward, but we're also losing a little bit of lag in the arms. And we don't necessarily need to have the most amount of lag in this position. There are great players that get lag as we go down. And if we go forward in the swing a little bit, we can see how much the hands are in front of the club. That's fine. Not saying we have to get a ton of it, but I think what it'll help us do is get that complete turn because our back leg is very posted up and we have kind of no knee bend, if we were able to get some more knee bend in this swing and be able to kind of use this as a wall behind us to hold, I think that would allow that club to come a bit more over towards the target to complete the full swing. If we still had that initiation going down and we had the flexibility for it, we could easily increase our distance. Big takeaways though, this move right here is money. Start working on that, you'll be hitting a lot straighter shots.